Thank you very much. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Gentlelady's time has expired, and she's yielded back. The chair now recognizes himself for 5 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Davison, for being here. As you know, one of the primary functions of Congress and one of the primary responsibilities is oversight, so we appreciate you being here for this. Tell me about Build America, Buy America waivers. How have you been reviewing and deciding which ones to grant or to deny or issue?
Thank you for the question. It's a very important part of our broadband programs, and the President has stated if it can be built in America, it should be built in America. If we're spending all of this federal money to build networks, let's make sure that the people who are building the network, the equipment that's being used, is built here as much as possible. So Congress instructed us in the law that has to be true. It also gave us the ability to do waivers where they're needed. And what we've done is said the bar has to be very high for a waiver in this program. It's not impossible. We know that to build modern telecommunications networks, not every part is going to be available here in the U.S. But we've kept the waivers. We've said we're going to keep it narrow, and we're already seeing results. Companies have stepped up to make sure that fiber optic cable, a lot of the electronics in these networks are going to be built here. The vast majority of that equipment is going to come from the U.S., and we're seeing already—
Define vast majority.
I think we've said that up to, I think it's close to 90% of the equipment deployed in the network is going to be built in America.
Good, thank you for that. You know how important that is. I think we all learned some important lessons during the pandemic, and how we need to have manufacturing over here. Tell me about the how you're going to close the digital divide while doing this, while bringing manufacturing back to American soil.
I think the big thing has been to really incentivize companies to bring these jobs and manufacturing back into the U.S. by creating very clear standards for what that looks like. We've already seen, I've been part of probably a half a dozen announcements already, and there are many more companies that we know are doing this, announcing jobs and creating more manufacturing back here. And because of that, we know that there are thousands of jobs that have been created.
Well, let me ask you this. Is there anything we can help you with in that respect?
Right. I think the biggest thing, well, first of all, Congress did the hard part by actually holding our feet to the fire and giving us the instruction that we actually had to try to make sure that we're—
Understood.
Yeah. And that's probably the biggest thing right now.
Okay. The final Build America, Buy America waiver for the BEAD program is still not been released. When do you think it's going to be released?
It is, well, so it's gone out for public comment. We earlier this fall. We received a fair number of comments about it, which is, as to be expected. We're working through those comments now. I would say it's weeks, not months.
Okay. The FCC's rules on digital discrimination, why did NTIA ask for BEAD to be excluded from the digital discrimination requirement?
Well, I think our view has been that we've always started by wanting to make this program work as efficiently and smoothly as possible, try and create as few burdens for providers as possible when they come in. We know that the digital discrimination proceeding at the FCC has moved forward. They have a final rule out there. But we also felt that for providers, that there's a fair amount of oversight that comes from providers who participate in the BEAD program. We have rules for them. We have oversight of the states. And our sense was that for providers who are already getting that oversight in the context of the BEAD program, they shouldn't also then need to have the oversight that would come under the digital discrimination.
So you agree that the federal government shouldn't have to play by a different set of rules, do you?
No, I think it's the same set of rules, but the fact is if they've already satisfied, if they've checked the box once for us on BEAD, they shouldn't have to go through the exercise of checking the box twice.
Okay. All right. Let's talk real quickly about the national spectrum strategy. And it calls for a national test bid for dynamic spectrum sharing that's to be stood up in, I think, 12, 18 months?
That's what we yes.
Will this be carried out by the Institute for Telecommunication Sciences?
Our expectation for that one, so first of all, it's a very important part of this is doing dynamic sharing. We see this as sharing as a new and increasingly important part of our spectrum ecosystem. We have, as you said, put out a target of creating a dynamic spectrum sharing pilot here, like a real capability that exists in the world for this next generation of spectrum sharing. It won't just be done by NTIA. I'm gratified to say other agency partners, including NSF, including DOD, are going to step up and help us build it.
Okay, my time's expired. Thank you again for being here.